Hello everyone and welcome to the Brundage Bootcamp warm-ups. Now I want to specify kind of what I mean by warm-ups and why we do them. Most people, they feel warm-ups is just more getting your heart rate going and getting your lungs cooking a little bit, and that will avoid injury. The real main reason for warm-ups is you want to teach the body to move specifically in a certain way to accept energy evenly throughout the body. So there are certain muscular structures and certain things that have happened that are going to keep your body from just distributing energy properly. So the reason for the warm-up is, yes, to warm up certain muscles, yes, to get the brain actually getting certain muscles cooking, but also telling other muscles to relax a little bit. Okay, so I specifically put these warm-ups together, and these are just suggested warm-ups. When I say suggested warm-ups, it means I want you to have the freedom. I am hoping and praying that you are all fitness professionals and that you all have your own knowledge and that you're constantly studying and you're finding out other warm-ups you can do. These are just my suggested warm-ups that have been shown to be extremely advantageous for my clients. So follow these warm-ups, add any on them that you would like, and have a lot of fun and realize that the warm-up time is when people actually get to know each other also, and to where you get to know your clients, because you will be very, very detail oriented in these warm-ups. So enjoy them, practice them, teach them, and make sure everyone continuously and constantly does these warm-ups no matter how advanced they get. So enjoy this video and listen, learn, have a great time. Person. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start testing people's balance. A lot of people in your boot camps, they've lost the ability to balance. Just balance themselves on one foot. Now that is an essential right of any human being, is to balance on one foot. So what we're going to do is we're going to first ask them, draw that stomach in. Have you noticed we're going to ask people to do that a lot? Because if we don't start teaching them to do that and think about it consciously every single time, we're not going to be able to make this a very unconscious movement, which means I want them to unconsciously be causing rigidity along their pillar, so they can stabilize their spine. If we have to make it a conscious movement all the darn time, eventually we'll be unconscious to them and naturally they'll just do it. And that's going to allow them to progress a lot faster and be able to do a lot more and get into more advanced boot camps without injury. So,
our appendages come from our appendages?
No. What a great question. Does the strength of our appendages come from our appendages? If she puts her arm out like this, and relaxes here, and she tries to hold that hand up, she can't hold it up for anything. I'd probably just take one finger and just push that darn thing down. Just go ahead, give me as much strength from your arm as you can. And it's really very easy. It doesn't take much. Nope. Okay, but if I ask her to draw that stomach in, stand up straight, squeeze the butt muscles, keep that nice and strong, and now I ask strength here, here, and here, and I'm looking to push that down. It takes a lot more energy to get that darn thing down, because the strength is not here.
No.
Okay, how'd that feel back here?
Felt all right.
Awesome. Very nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw just lightly that stomach in. We're not asking people to go like this, and now they can't breathe. And if they can't breathe, it means they're activating the diaphragm too much. Oh. Just draw that stomach in. When the stomach's drawn in, I should be able to breathe normally. I'm going to ask them, since they're going on one leg, to lightly activate the butt muscle in the back. And we're going to put those hands out. We're going to go on one foot. And some people you'll find are really not having a very good time with it. And if they say something like, I'm not very good at balance, I have a very easy response for that. If you're not good at balance,
practice balancing.
We're going to practice your balance.
And did you know that balance exercises are a great way to prevent knee injuries?
Is that so? Mm-hmm. We may talk about that later. Now, foot up, and what we're going to do is they're going to write the alphabet with their foot. And you know what? I have no problem having someone actually singing the song. And they may feel a little silly, but what the heck? We're going to have some fun. B, C, D, H. I think I'm on H. H, I, J, K. And you could actually sing the whole alphabet. And it's really fun if you get like 50 or more students belting out the alphabet in front of everybody, because it gets a little goofy, they get to smile, and they forget how miserable they're about to be.
And they stop feeling like everybody's looking at them.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Okay, that's a single leg balance. You do that on each foot. And that's something you want to have them practicing every day, is how to activate through here and here, and start working on their balance. Fair enough?
What if I forget a letter?
It's okay. Very nice. Now we're going to do something called a YTWL, or Yit Whittles, and you could sing that as loud as you want. Okay? So the whole key about this is so many people, because of our jobs today, I mean, from our repetitious jobs to non-repetitious jobs, we see that most people are very prone to tightness through here and here, causing a lot of this. Now, when you have that, you're very prone to weakness right through here. And these muscles are very lengthened and weak, and therefore we have a very improper movement pattern. What we're going to look to do here is we're going to look to get these muscles activated, get them cooking, okay, and help relax these a little bit more. So energy is distributed evenly and properly throughout the boot camp. And if there's anything that I could say that warm-ups are really for, yes, warm-ups are meant to get the heart rate going. Yes, warm-ups are meant to get the lungs cooking. Yes, warm-ups are meant to cause a little bit of moisture right here. That's fine. You know, however, I think the biggest thing warm-ups are really meant to do is get in certain muscles that are very dormant and unactivated and hadn't been worked for a while, and start telling the brain we want these as part of the equation. Take other muscles that have been overstimulated and overactive, okay, and get those to relax a little bit. Again, so energy can be distributed evenly throughout the body, and you are not overloading any one system or subsystem and getting an injury, which I don't think anybody wants, correct?
Correct.
Aha. So here we go. The very first thing we're going to do, I'm going to have Patricia do it from this angle, and I will be doing it from the front angle, is a Y. The first key of everything is the squeezing of the shoulder blades. So we're going to bring our palms up, because when the palms are up, the shoulders can roll back better and more naturally. Now what we want to avoid is, we want to avoid excessive arching of the spine when we do this. And what you're going to find is most people, they'll have a hard time squeezing and relaxing the neck when they do this. But the whole key of this is to teach them to squeeze and relax the neck while moving their appendages. So right there, let's go and move to the front now. She's going to squeeze her shoulder blades back without excessive arching. And then she's going to raise it up, and it looks suspiciously Y-like, Y-esque, kind of Y-E. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Okay, now are you still breathing?
I'm still breathing.
Do you have light activation here?
I have light activation.
Do you have light activation here?
I'm squeezing my butt.
You got a little bit of squeezing going on here?
Sure am.
Very nice. Now we're talking. That is a Y. Okay? And I may have them do 5 to 10 of those. Okay? Just to get some activation. Squeeze and get the Y without shrugging like that. Okay? Next is going to be a T. We're going to have her put her palms up, neck down, and we're going to have her squeeze, shoulder blades first, and then back into a T. Looks suspiciously T-like, wouldn't you say?
I would say.
Okay.
We've got the Yit.
There's the Yit. The Y, the T's, they're done. One T. Beautiful. And again, it's to create activation through here, a light activation of the glutes, shoulder blade squeeze, and then pull back into a T without aggressive activation of the neck muscles. Right? Next part of the YTWLs, and by the way, a majority of people, their mid back is going to be sore from just the orientation day and just the warm-ups the first time they do them. There's been such a lack of movement, okay, and neuromuscular connection with these back muscles is they'll be nice and sore. They'll be sore through here just from that drawing in maneuver and practicing it because they haven't done that. Okay? So now we're going to do a W to an L. Now if you had a sky cam up here and looking straight down on our heads, the arm is going to make a really nice W. But the very first thing we do is we squeeze our shoulder blades first. Then the arms come to a W without aggressive or excessive arching of the spine. Then we're going to rotate ever so lightly. Now, if you ever get any guys in your class, they're always trying to force it back. Tell them to relax and just let it rotate. For a second, then relax. Shoulder blade squeeze, W, L. Squeeze, W, L. That's it. There's a YTWL. And you could either have people do that separately, and I would say in beginner boot camp, you may want them to do 5 to 10 of these separately. If they try to tie them all together into one movement, they'll screw it up. They'll make up their own movement, which really is absolutely doing nothing. The body just will end up compensating and doing some type of hybrid of the movement you want them to do. Okay? But eventually, when you get people more to advanced boot camp, and by the way, there's a little habit some people get when they get into advanced boot camp and they start injuring themselves that they forget to do these beginning movements. These are like white belt techniques in any martial art that you learn. These are the foundation of starting your movement. So everything you're going to go through today
is to basically get the body ready for movement. So we want to cause a disease of proper warm-up, an epidemic of proper warm-up. All right? So we're going to do a Y, T, W, into an L. Okay? And you want to see people doing that all the time. Or I tell you what, if they don't keep doing what they did to get to where they got, okay, they're going to lose it. Okay? And people don't want to get in great shape. Pardon?
Unless somebody is a champion rock climber who says that this is easy, they're not doing it correctly. They're not squeezing their shoulder blades together. So if you have anybody tell you how easy this is, or they're whipping through them like it's not a problem, they're not squeezing their shoulder blades. The only people I've ever seen who actually can say it's easy are champion rock climbers. They've got incredible strength in their rhomboids. So,
well, incredible strength and neuromuscular.
Yes.
I mean, this neuromuscularly, the body knows to activate that.
Yes.
Most people, their environment doesn't ask them to work their muscles here at all. Okay, especially these muscles with these muscles and these muscles. Right. Relaxing these muscles. Right? So those are YTWLs. Hip crossovers. We do this from a couple different angles. Okay, the whole key of a hip crossover is anytime you get your hands up a little bit too high, a lot of people, they have very tight lat muscles, it's going to pull throughout their lower back, which is not what we want. So hip crossover, we're going to keep the hands slightly to the side, thumbs up at all times. The thumbs up allow the shoulder blades to squeeze back. Okay? Light activation. Now, knees stay together and feet stay together, and the feet will roll on top of each other. Light activation, stomach comes in, okay? And what we're going to do is we're just going to let the legs fall on top of each other. There we go. And you don't force the legs down. Let them just fall over. No more than holding of no more than 2 seconds. Bring it back over. Okay? And there we go. Notice how the feet fall on top of each other. Okay? Shoulder blades stay down. She brings it back up. And just get some good rotation throughout the hip. And you're going to get a good active dynamic stretch all the way through here. Not here, here. Not here. Maybe a little bit there. Pretty simple. Again, notice how the feet are crossing over on each other, knees stay together, stomach stays activated. The body still relaxes and allows the movement. A lot of people, when you ask the body to move, it tightens up and fires up. You want to help it relax, but just move properly. Okay, anything you want to add?
Well, my butt's squeezing too.
Well, there's a little bit of squeezing going on. I agree. That is a hip crossover. And I like it. Now we're going to move right from the hip crossover to a glute bridge. Now a glute bridge, again, we already talked about how the middle of the back and all the scapular retractors are really prone to weakness. Another muscle that's extremely important, that's very prone to weakness. Now when I say weakness, I don't mean that it doesn't have strength within it. I mean that neuromuscularly, your brain has a hard time activating that muscle because it's not asked to be used hardly at all throughout the day. Most people have sit-down jobs. Even the ones that really feel they're active, they are sedentary. They are sit-down jobs, and the glutes are in a lengthened position most of the day. And then they get in their car, come to the gym, sit down on some weights, then they get in their car, go home, sit down in a chair, and then fall asleep. Again, the whole time their glutes are not being worked. So the brain forgets how to get these things cooking. So we're going to start getting these cooking. Now, what your clients may feel is they may feel, because of something called synergistic dominance, a secondary muscle of the hamstrings may come in and be doing the work for the glutes. Now we're looking to correct that as much as possible within the beginner boot camp. Okay? But if they say, hey, my hamstrings really feel tight, that's actually very, very normal. Okay? Until we start repetitiously bringing the butt muscles into this movement, the brain's not going to know to even activate, the butt muscles. So the knees stay together, the feet stay together, toes come up. And I would probably have them actually bring their feet forward just a little bit so we're not putting pressure within the knee. Okay, stomach is activated, and what they're going to do is they're going to raise their hips up without aggressively arching the spine. So the hips come up. Okay, knees stay together. Okay, now her spine did not flatten out or flex forward, and it also did not excessively arch, so you're not causing excessive flexion of the spine or extension of the spine. Nice natural spine, and her glutes just kind of go like this and go and squeeze like that, and then they relax for about 1 second. Her butt touches, and then raises up, and bam!
Okay? And if they kind of feel their hamstrings tighten up a little bit, hamstrings are meant to tighten up just a little bit. They're meant to assist the glutes. However, they're not meant to take the energy and steal all the energy and all the work away from the glutes. It's a secondary muscle. We have to teach the glutes to work first. So what you'll hear throughout boot camp a lot is we'll be constantly asking people to activate their butt muscles so we can get the communication from here to the glutes. Okay? Once we get those glutes cooking, you have a huge person on your side. Would the glutes be considered a person?
They could be.
They got that much chutzpah to them. Could be said their own separate entity.
Life is easier when you squeeze your butt.
It's awesome. And that's a glute bridge. Have them pop out about 10 to 15 of those. And again, remember, why this is part of the warm-up is because not only are we getting a little sweat going, a little heart rate, little lungs, is we are firing muscles that need to be fired, and we are relaxing muscles that need to be relaxed, therefore causing better distribution of energy throughout the boot camp and just throughout their day. People will say, and this is why I'm really an advocate of a morning boot camp, people will say their day goes far better when they have boot camp in the morning, and not just because they had a great workout. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, right now we're going to go to a backwards lunge. Now, the reason why I've chosen a backwards lunge as a beginner boot camp warm-out, and really a warm-up for anybody, is when you lunge backwards initially, it forces pressure to the heel and forces energy into the quadricep and the butt, which is what you want. Okay? Usually most people, when it comes to their knee pain, it doesn't have to do with an injury. It has to do with the fact that they have movement patterns that continually send energy and traumatize the actual joint of the knee. Now remember, the knee is meant for movement. Okay, the muscles are meant to accept energy. The knee joint was never meant to accept energy. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to have her step straight back. As she steps straight back, now we're going to be very detail oriented because you're going to find this is an issue with a lot of people. Okay? She's going to put the pressure into her heel. If she needs to put some elf shoes on, that's fine. She's going to come straight down with the pressure in her heel. Okay? And now she's going to shoot pressure through her heel and make that and the butt muscle lift that up and then step back forward. Now, here's something very important. Let's have you do another one on the other side now. Same thing, she steps back, pulling pressure back to her heel. Keeps the pressure there and comes straight up. And I want them coming down as far as they can, okay, without sending a majority of the energy to this back leg. You'll hear that's another concern with people is, I don't feel it here, I feel it in my back leg. It's because their brain is still trying to steal energy away from this knee because they probably dealt with knee pain for some time. It's an improper movement pattern. So they're sending energy back here. So it's going to come straight down again. Now, when pressure is being put in the heel and energy is being taken by the quadricep and the butt muscles, okay, the knee in response to that will stay where it's supposed to be. Right? It will stay within 2 inches right there and aligned here with the second toe. Okay? So I always tell people when they hear somebody say never let your knees go over your toe, well, that all depends. Okay? But when you're starting with new people, starting up new movement patterns, it's a good basic rule of thumb. As you get more functional, there are just some movements where the knees have to go there, but you have to make sure the brain knows how to transfer energy first before you can start telling people, start shoving their knees, kind of like mine are doing right now. So right now, in response to where the pressure is being put in the heel, and the energy being put in here and here, the knee will stay in place. If the knee moves forward, that means the pressure has moved to the toes and the energy has moved into the knee. Okay, so anytime that knee comes forward, the body is trying to compensate somewhere and send energy through the knee and pressure into the toe. So this is in response to pressure in the heel, energy in the quadricep and the glutes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think so too, but I just want to make sure. Okay, go and step forward. Okay, she's going to slide back again, pulling energy to the heel. She's going to come straight down. That knee stays in place. Okay, all the energy is being taken by this and the glutes and straight up and then move forward. There you go. Okay? And you see that little pop she did to get back up? She's stepping back pretty far. People do not have to step back that far. They don't have to squat down this low. Okay? They can come down as far as they can to control the pressure and the energy. So you got to be watching that with people. You can do that as long as you're following those 2 main criteria, pressure and energy. That's the backward lunge. Now we're going to go through the price of admission right here. It's something we call the world's greatest stretch and the second world's greatest stretch. Okay, the world's greatest stretch is pretty complicated. You have to be ready to be very detail oriented. You also have to be ready for your students to be pretty darn confused about this initially. And they're going to be very aggravated because no one likes sucking at something. But they're not going to be good at the world's greatest stretch the very first time because it's a lot of little things to remember. But again, that's why we have practice. Okay, so I'm just going to join Patricia in the world's greatest stretch here. Okay, we're going to start from the front position. Okay, the very first thing with the world's greatest stretch, and part of the frustration, some people have no balance on one leg. Hey, that's okay. How do we get better balance?
Practice balance.
Fine. What if you're not very coordinated?
Practice balance.
We're going to practice balance and get a little, and practice a little coordination. Right? It is how it is. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to raise the leg up and we're going to pull that knee to the chest. We're not going to crunch the chest to the knee. We're going to pull the knee to the chest. Then we're going to walk out to a lunge. Okay? What we know about the lunge is pressure in the heel. We're going to come straight down. You're going to see people immediately start trying to do this. Straight down. Do you have a choice? They can either bring their knee down or they can bring their leg back. The pressure stays in the heel. My knee stays nicely aligned. My knee is underneath my chest. Here's another thing they'll be screwing up that you have to fix over and over again. Whatever knee is forward, the same side elbow goes to the inside of that knee. You're going to reach underneath that hand like you're grabbing something off a shelf. Then you're going to rotate. You always rotate towards the lead leg, keeping the knee close into the chest. And I like to wave my fans over there. Because some people do some type of wacky things here. Here are your fans. Hello. Hello. I love that. You're going to come back into a hamstring stretch. It is okay if everyone starts going, oh, yes. Pressure back in the heel. I'm going to have you sit up. Move straight forward, keeping that pressure in the heel. Whew, that's complicated.
It is. It's like a dance.
Okay, let's do it again. Okay? Except now she's going to be facing this way. I'll be facing this way. Okay, opposite leg, knee hug. Out to a lunge. All right. She comes down.
Wave at your neighbor.
There you go. Keep that nice and tight. Oh, isn't that awesome? Yep. Okay. Hamstring stretch. Toe up on the hamstring stretch. Absolutely. If some people cannot do that, they can do a hamstring stretch like this. There are all sorts of ways for you to modify these movements. Everybody can do this. As a matter of fact, a huge thing is when people are having a hard time with this movement or they can't do this movement, it's amazing how fast they can do this movement. They do the impossible. It's incredible. Okay? That's a big standard. It's a big pillar that they've reached, if you will.
Well, and what happens is they get frustrated, they feel stupid, and they don't want to do it anymore because they think everybody's watching. And what they don't realize is that everybody's struggling with some point, and you just take people again through it step by step, and everybody can do this.
And this is why I think an important thing for boot camp instructors is you need to be there a half hour early, tell everyone else to get there a half hour early, and you are constantly moving around the group, and you're constantly helping them with these movements and making sure you never skip on bringing enthusiasm and passion to the group and constantly reminding them about these movements and never let them skip these movements. All right? So that is a world's greatest stretch. Let's do it one more time. Okay, knee hug. Out to a lunge. Okay, same side elbow always goes to the front leg on the inside of the knee. Reach underneath. Knee stays underneath the chest. Wave at your audience. Hi. Hey. Hamstring. Oh-ho. Sit up. Walking on through. And I'll tell you what, you do 10 of those, 5 on each side, whew, you feel great. You're ready to work. I mean, you just actually feel just all these neurons firing throughout your body. Let's do some boot camp. It's awesome.
People didn't do any other warm-up, and they only did this one.
I want to see people at the golf courses around the places that you're at. I want to see them doing this before they play golf. I want to see them before they swim. It is the world's greatest stretch, don't you know? Okay? Second world's greatest stretch is going to be something called a hand walk. Now, a hand walk, we have to realize a couple things. Come on forward, Patricia.
Here?
Yep, I'm going to have you stand sideways. Now, most people, what they do, when they look to bend at the waist, all they do is instead of bending at the hips, which is what I want them to do, they bend forward at the waist. So they go reaching for their toes like this, okay? I do not want to see flexion of the spine, okay? All we want to see is a bend here at the hips, okay? So we're going to come forward as far as we can without flexing the spine. Their shoulder blades stay squeezed back, and as far as she can, see, that's a nice neutral spine, and her shoulder blades are not pushed forward, and that's as far down as she can go. Once she gets to there, then she can bend the knees, put the hands down, and she's going to walk it out. Now, she's going to squeeze her butt right there. Now, she's got a choice. I always tell people, I think it should be an actual criminal offense to be in this position and not throw out a push-up. Okay? Now she's going to walk herself back. She's going to come back as far as she can without overflexing the spine. And if she needs to, when she comes back, she can bend the knees a little bit and put the pressure back in her heels and stand up. When she stands up, I want the glutes just giving a little squeeze, a little like that. That's all I want. You can even make that sound with your glutes if you need to, too. It's okay. We're in boot camp. It's supposed to happen.
We make lots of noises.
We're all humans, for goodness sakes. Okay, let's go do it again. You're gonna have you bend at the hips, not at the spine. There you go. Oh, now see right there, she started flexing forward at the spine. So let's bend forward at the hips. Right there. Now she can bend the knees a little bit and walk it on out. Okay, gonna squeeze the glutes, come on up. There we go, pressure in the heels, stand up to the heels, glutes give a little, just like that. That's the second world's greatest stretch, just like that. Guys, once you finish through all these, and as you can tell, we're very detail oriented. That's also why in the orientation, you'll really notice how much time just going through the warm-ups and doing their best push-ups and squats are gonna take. You know, drive you just bonkers is what it will. Okay, you'll take a good hour just explaining and getting people through this, and then getting their push-ups and squats, and they will be sore from this.
Yes, they will.
Okay? You get, I swear, I get world-class athletes sometimes. These movements, their body's not used to. Their body's not, I mean, they're sore from activating muscles they've never activated or haven't activated in a long time, and releasing muscles that need to be released for a long time. So take your time, be very detail-oriented, but stay on the path of you got to get all this done into their head within an hour. And the reason why we do these warm-ups and orientation is because they're so important to the progression of the class. They're so important to everyone doing well in the class. And it's also the time you get to establish a great communication and great relationship with your clients. All right, right now we're going to go through an actual real-time. Patricia's going to go through all the warm-ups, and I may talk through some stuff and kind of comment as she goes through it. Everybody, let's go and start these warm-ups real time. So someone shows up to class, they're going to show up a half hour early, and if they get through these warm-ups pretty fast, I have good news, go through them twice. Okay? There should be no jibber-jabbering, except the only jibber-jabbering is while you are actually doing your warm-ups. So the very first thing is, we're just going to drop on down, she's going to immediately start doing dead bugs. Now these are done in sequence for a reason. Okay? Okay. Everything is looking to activate. The very first thing we're going to activate is the stomach muscle in correlation with the appendages. And she's going to go through what her body is ready for. She could do some contralateral, left arm to the right leg, right arm to the left leg, switching. Of course, understanding that we want to make sure the stomach stays in and activated and that she's breathing the whole time. And she's going to do about 10 of those on each leg. Now, I have no problem at any time during boot camp, not only asking people what kind of bug they are, but asking them, and we're talking CEOs of major corporations, asking them to make a dying bug sound. Whatever, I don't care. More, I just find it very entertaining finding out what kind of, what things adults will do. All right, next she's going to go right to the hip abduction or the fire hydrant. Okay, remember the fire hydrant, we have to make sure our shoulder blades are nice and relaxed, our neck is relaxed, and we're just going to raise that knee up, activating the external rotators and the glute muscles, and the stomach stays in. There we go. It's really about a 6-inch movement. The hardest time you're going to have with clients is getting them not to over-rotate the hips. Okay, and go and turn a little bit forward towards me, not completely forward. Right there's good, and go and do a few more on that side. There you go. All right, immediately Patricia's going to come up. She's going to do a single leg balance. Okay. And she's going to actually write the alphabet with her foot. The whole time, her real focus is this. Her real focus is pulling the stomach in just a little bit and activating the glute of the leg that is down. And making sure people are constantly understanding the importance of proper sequencing of the proper muscles. See, if we're very, very picky during beginner boot camp, then they're going to be able to advance a lot easier and a lot faster. Okay? Simple as that. Okay? Good activation, good activation. Very nice. She's going to go right to YTWLs. Okay? And you want to get 5 to 10 of each of these. So first of all, let's do 5 Ys. Palms up. Squeeze those shoulder blades back, rotate the shoulder blades back, chin up, squeeze, and then bring it up to a Y without activating the neck. The stomach is also lightly activated in, pulled in, and the glutes are squeezed. Again, teaching all that proper sequencing of the muscles. All right, we're going to go right to a T. Okay, oh, very nice. Okay, palms up, hands forward. Okay, we're going to bring those hands forward. Palms up. And we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades and pull it back into a T without overarching the spine or, there we go. Stomach in, neck relaxed, squeeze the glutes, and get those shoulder blades squeezed back. And then she's throwing out some T's. Now we're going to do the W, which is palms down, facing forward, squeeze the shoulder blades back, pull the elbows back into a W, and then rotate them up into an L. Do not over-rotate. Hold for a second, then release. There you go. That's going to open up all the rotator muscles of the shoulders. Get them nice and activated. See, large muscle groups need to be activated, need to be fired up, and all these little small muscle groups need to be activated and fired up. It's all important. It's all good stuff.
All great.
And so she pulls out some YTs, Ws, Ls. Okay, immediately she's going to drop down to her back, and she's going to do some hip crossovers. Again, all these warm-ups are put together and sequenced in a certain way to fire up the body properly and teach the body to sequence properly. Again, notice how her feet cross on top of each other. Notice how her knees are together. Notice how her thumbs are up and her shoulder blades are lightly squeezed. Her stomach is lightly activated in, and she is breathing normally. Nice and relaxed. See, her body's relaxed and it's just allowed to move. The body doesn't move very well if all the muscles are tight. All right, she's going to go right from there. She's going to rattle off some glute bridges. Whole key of glute bridges is to get those glutes, which is a very, very powerful muscle. Notice how she does not flex the spine forward or overarch the spine. She pulls the stomach in, brings the toes up. Okay. And if people feel this a little bit in their hamstrings, that's okay. Make sure the knees are together. She's relaxed her neck, and she just basically fires them glutes up. Just pop, wah, 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 wah. I purposely, again, because I love to see what adults will do, I love making everybody scream bang at the top of their lungs. Patricia remembers the first class she was in, so they raise up and just bang! Bang! As loud as they possibly can. And if that hurts you on your video screen, I so apologize, but not really. Because nothing more fun than 50 people at the top of their lungs screaming bang. All right, we're going to have her come up. We're going to go right to backward lunges now. Okay. Remember, the backward lunges, we're pulling the energy back to the heel. Pressure goes back to the heel. Energy goes to the front of the leg and the glutes. And she steps forward. Okay? They don't have to step back that far. They can step back a little bit more shallow, and they don't have to lunge all the way down if they can. The only reason I'll ask them to do that is if they can control the pressure in the heel and the energy to the quadricep. If they cannot control that, I'm not going to have them actually come back that far. So it's going to be up to you to help these people out. And Patricia's going to talk a little bit more about injury and injury prevention throughout your boot camp class. That's going to talk a little bit more aggressively about this process. Okay? We're going to go right from that backward lunge. Now we're going to go right to world's greatest stretch. She goes right from a knee hug Out to a lunge, pressure in the heel. Okay, the inside elbow goes to the inside of the knee. Hamstring stretch, toe up, pressure back in the heel. She's going to sit up straight, walk it on through. All right, we're going to slow that down a little bit. Knee hug. Pull the knee to the chest. Out to a lunge, pressure in the heel. Whatever knee is forward, that same side elbow goes to the inside. She's going to wave towards her lead leg at her fans. She's going to go back to a hamstring stretch. And they're going to hit about 5 of those on each side. We can modify it if we need to. Next is going to be the hand walks, the second world's greatest stretch. She's going to bend forward at the hips. She is not going to flex at the spine. Shoulder blades back. She's going to bend at the knees now and walk it out. Stomach in. Because it should be criminal to be in that position, not do a push-up. She throws out one of those. Pressure back in the heel. Stands up. Her squeeze glutes go, hi-ya! Beautiful. Let's go a couple more of those. Very nice. And right now, I mean, Patricia's ready for a workout. She's ready to go. You feel fired up?
I feel warm.
Absolutely.